Chapter 562, Uniting Strengths. By Li Changqing is now the leader of the Black Robe Squad, so logically speaking, he is not supposed to leak information about the big region to Zhang Yi. However, he and Zhang Yi have a big secret between them, so when Zhang Yi asked him to inquire about the information about this gathering, he had to tell Zhang Yi some of it. Even if he can only tell Zhang Yi part of it, it is still much better than Zhang Yi guessing on his own. At this moment in Blizzard City, Bai Li Changqing was dressed in casual clothes and was sitting at the family dinner table waiting for dinner. Outside the house, the snow was falling heavily, and inside the house, it was a warm and cozy scene. His son was only 8 years old, with a sharp head, and was picking at the food in his bowl with his chopsticks. His wife was in the kitchen making soup. Don't look at this ordinary civilian house, it is now absolutely an A-level living area in Blizzard City, where only team leaders and their relatives can live. Bai Li Changqing had just been promoted recently, and he was in a good mood, so he worked extra hard when he was with his wife. But when he picked up his phone and saw that the caller ID was Zhang Yi, his smile froze immediately. There was a big secret about him becoming the team leader. The credit that originally belonged to Zhang Yi had been divided up by their entire investigation team. Otherwise, according to the rules of the headquarters, Zhang Yi must be invited over. It is uncertain whether he will be made team leader, but Bai Li Changqing will definitely not be in the running. Therefore, Bai Li Changqing, who has a slight problem with Zhang Yi, looks a little strange. Xiao Hu, who is standing next to him, sees his father's strange expression and can't help but ask, "Dad, what's wrong?" Bai Li Changqing looks at his son and smiles, "Nothing, Dad just has some work stuff. You and Mom eat first." He took the phone and walked to the bathroom, then locked the door and looked around carefully before answering the phone. "Hello, Zhang Yi? If it isn't me, who else would it be?" "Captain Bai Li, how have you been?" Bai Li Changqing took a deep breath when he heard Zhang Yi's teasing tone. "Thanks to you, I've also become a captain. What do you want?" Zhang Yi also didn't beat around the bush and said directly, "What's the deal with the call-up order for the Jiangnan region? Tell me." Bai Li Changqing smiled easily when he heard it was about this. "So it's because of this. Have you already received an email?" "Just now." "That's right. The Commander-in-Chief has just made a decision recently to integrate all the forces that can be integrated in the Jiangnan region. We have also been notified of this matter. As there will be many strangers from all over the place coming on the 8th day of the 4th month, we need to maintain stability within Blizzard City. At that time, there will be at least 2 investigation teams." Zhang Yi thought of what Bian Junhua had said, that there are a total of 6 headquarters for investigation teams like theirs. And any one of these teams is a powerful presence that is enough to sweep an area. Not only are their members all high-level strangers, but they also have the most advanced equipment and technology provided by the Jiangnan region. Zhang Yi didn't care about this. His main concern was the purpose of the gathering. This time, we were summoned to be incorporated. To be unified and incorporated into an alien army, managed by the regional headquarters? Is that right? Bai Li Changqing scratched his head. "I'm not sure about that. After all, the headquarters will is not communicated to those of us in the front lines. But I think you're probably overthinking it." Zhang Yi's eyes narrowed. "Oh? Why is that?" Bai Li Changqing said honestly, "Headquarters needs to invest a lot of resources to support an outsider. If you gather the power of the entire Jiangnan region, won't your food, clothing, housing, transportation, and training resources all have to be provided by the region? Although Blizzard City is a big family, it cannot afford this kind of consumption." Zhang Yi snorted. "At most, there are only a few thousand people, so you can't even afford to feed them?" Bai Li Changqing laughed heartily. "Although the aliens have a big appetite, a little food is not a problem for the headquarters. We have our own agricultural plantations and can be self-sufficient. However, what is really scarce are the drugs specially used to cultivate aliens." Zhang Yi's eyes flashed. "There is such a thing?" "Of course. regional powers control the country's most advanced technology and the most professional means of cultivating aliens. Otherwise, why do you think the aliens in Blizzard City are generally stronger than those in other cities? Zhang Yi had gained some insight, but he wasn't envious. If becoming stronger required sacrificing freedom, he would rather not do it. Anyway, he was strong enough now. After listening to Bai Li Changqing finish speaking, Zhang Yi rubbed his nose. Anyway, can I take it that Jiangnan region is asking us to submit to its control but not willing to provide us with supplies? Bai Li Changqing shrugged. Not quite. These are troubled times, and the outsiders are a very powerful force. The commander-in-chief wants to make good use of this force and prevent it from getting out of control and becoming a problem. So in the end, you will definitely be offered terms that you can accept. Zhang Yi's heart settled a little. If that was the case, there was nothing wrong with going over to take a look. As long as he had his true strength well and didn't let anyone know, he said, okay, after all your talking, I still need to go over there in person to find out the details. Bai Li Changqing said with a smile, I'll buy you a drink when you come. Okay, I don't need you to say that. I'll come find you then, Zhang Yi also replied with a smile. Bai Li Changqing naturally wanted to win Zhang Yi over and make Zhang Yi keep their secret. Zhang Yi took the opportunity to get more information about Blizzard City from him. The two were getting what they wanted. After the call ended, Zhang Yi stretched and made Yang Mi stop. Go and get everyone together, we have something to do. Zhang Yi said to Yang Mi. Yang Mi had overheard Zhang Yi's conversation and roughly understood what was going on in her heart. This made her can't help but let out a light sigh, feeling that the quiet days would once again be turbulent. She nodded, then went over to inform everyone to gather in the living room. Zhang Yi sat up on the sofa and reached out to take a piece of sorbet from the coffee table to eat. This call-up of the Jiangnan region still required him to give face. However, in the call-up order, it was only noted that the leaders of the forces must go. It did not say that no one was allowed to bring people. Therefore, Zhang Yi considered bringing the main combat power of the team with him. After all, this was the first time that the Jiangnan region had gathered together so many people. At that time, I wonder how many local forces will meet in Blizzard City. None of those who have survived until now and formed a certain scale of power are easy people. When powerful people from all walks of life gather, there will be friction if they are not careful. Although Zhang Yi is not someone who starts trouble, it is always safest to bring more people. While waiting for everyone to arrive, Zhang Yi casually called Xing Tian to ask if he had received any news. Xing Tian gave a positive reply. I just received it too. Zhang Yi, do you think we should go or not? Zhang Yi thought to himself, Xing Tian has received the news, and it seems that Xiao Honglian and Qin Jinghuan will not be left behind. In that case, the entire Tianhai City's forces will have to go together. Chapter 563, Deciding on the candidates to go to Blizzard City. Zhang Yi said to Xing Tian, of course we have to go. Let's go together as a group. This way, there will be a lot of people, and we can also intimidate others, so that people who are not discerning will not come over and cause trouble. Zhang Yi's team is an elite group with a relatively small number of people. It would be perfect to bring in the other three forces, so that they can take the brunt of any trouble. Xing Tian was determined to follow Zhang Yi, so he happily agreed. Okay, let me know when to go. Okay, then it's settled. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Yi repeated the same words to the other two teams. Sure enough, they had also received the news from the Jiangnan region and expressed their willingness to go to Blizzard City with Zhang Yi. After the phone call, everyone had gathered. After Yang Mi told them the general situation, everyone couldn't help but discuss it in the living room, with curiosity and anxiety written all over their faces. They didn't know much about the Jiangnan region. However, they knew that place had extremely powerful energy. Needless to say, there are all kinds of modern weapons, and just talking about the aliens from there, each and every one of them is extremely powerful. The Black Robe Squad led by Bian Junwo left a deep impression on everyone in Tianhai City. Okay, everyone is here. I'll just tell you what I called you here for. Zhang Yi sat up straight and looked at the crowd before speaking. The Jiangnan Regional Headquarters has issued a call-up order to all forces within the region. We are required to arrive in Jinling's Blizzard City before April 8th. There is basically no room for maneuver in this matter, and there is no way to refuse. We must go. So I'm telling you in advance, get ready. There was nothing to discuss about this matter, and they would not be stupid enough to go against the Jiangnan region. Of course they would go. Zhang Yi was simply informing them. After hearing this, the crowd couldn't help but start discussing it. Fat Su said worriedly, "Why did the district suddenly summon us there? Could there be some kind of conspiracy?" Uncle Yu said, "I don't think so. It's probably just a general mobilization similar to a military parade." Fat Su asked again, "So is there going to be a war?" Uncle Yu said, "I don't know. But I don't think so." He laughed and said, "Although we are in the end times, there are 6 major regions guarding the country, so who would dare to offend?" Zhang Yi listened to the discussions of the others and told them the news he had learned from Li Changqing. "You don't need to worry too much. I have already communicated with our friends over there. This time, it is supposed to be a conference held by the Jiangnan region headquarters to establish authority and unify the control of all forces in the region, big and small. It's not like they're going to take us over and make us leave Tianhai City and go there." Zhang Yi spread his hands. "After all, if we leave, Tianhai City will really become a dead city. Maybe someone else will covet it. I believe the Jiangnan region will not make such a decision. Okay, next we need to decide who will go there." Zhang Yi glanced at the group and said indifferently, "As usual, I, Uncle Yu, Fat Su, Lian Yu, and Hua Hua will go to Blizzard City. The rest of you stay here." But someone had an opinion. Shokur looked at Zhang Yi expectantly. "Zhang Yi, it's rare that the entire Jiangnan region gathers for a gathering of foreigners, and I want to go too. Maybe I can help." Zhang Yi laughed and said, "You're a doctor, and we're not going there to fight a war, so why would you go?" "That's hard to say." Shokur cooed, wrapping her arm around Zhang Yi's. "You said it yourself, it'll be a mixed crowd. What if you get into a fight with someone? Wouldn't you feel more at ease having a personal doctor with you?" Zhang Yi laughed and said, "Do you think there aren't any doctors in Blizzard City?" Shokur, however, raised an eyebrow and said meaningfully, "Are you sure you want to let their doctors treat you?" Shokur's eyes carried an extraordinary meaning. Zhang Yi frowned and pondered for a moment, immediately realizing the problem. "You mean if I go over there and receive their treatment, I might reveal my own information? The Jiangnan region has extremely advanced science and technology, and there are also special agencies that rate aliens. In other words, if Zhang Yi is examined by them, the level of his own strength, and even the specific details of his abilities, may be thoroughly investigated." Shokur said seriously, "I'm worried that they will get a sample of your genes and use it to create a weapon against you." Zhang Yi's gaze became even deeper. He couldn't help but think of the origin bomb. This type of weapon was specifically developed to deal with aliens. If someone else gets their genetic information, it is also possible that they will develop a weapon specifically targeting them. Not only did Zhang Yi feel the danger, but everyone else also felt a chill down their spine. Is it that complicated? In that case, even if we go there, we must be careful and not leave behind any information about ourselves. In particular, Fatty Su, with a grave expression on his face, after thinking about his usual hobbies, decided that he would bring some pepper spray with him and resolutely not leave any DNA behind. Shokur's words successfully convinced Zhang Yi. He felt that the doctor would feel most at ease with his own people. Zhang Yi nodded and said to Shokur, "Okay, you can go with us." "Yes." Shokur smiled happily. It was a rare opportunity to go on a long trip, and she certainly didn't want to miss it. At this time, Lu Karen cast an envious glance at Shokur and volunteered, "Big brother, take me with you too." Zhang Yi looked at Lu Karen and couldn't help but rub his head. "Don't be ridiculous, if you all go with us, how can we take care of you?" Lu Karen, however, gave Zhang Yi a reason that he could not resist. "Big brother, Jiangnan has so many advanced weapons, there must be something other than the origin bomb. Don't you want to get your hands on it? She placed a hand on her chest and said confidently, just give me a chance to get my hands on them, and I'll be able to analyze their structure and material composition. There's a high probability that I'll be able to replicate them. Zhang Yi slapped his thigh. Yes, we must go. No one is going, but I'll take my sister Karen with me. So the decision to go to Blizzard City was made happily. As for the others, they had no intention of going with them. Yang Mi and Zhou Haimei liked to stay at home and quietly enjoy the quiet years. Yang Xinxin, on the other hand, had to stay at home to provide information technology support for Zhang Yi and the others, and she was the only one who was familiar with the various systems at home. Once Zhang Yi left home, the safety of the shelter would depend on her. So, a total of 6 people and 1 cat decided to go to Blizzard City this time.